so will my heavenly Father do to you, unless each of you forgives his brother from his heart. In today's gospel, we hear a well-known parable about a king who forgives a servant a debt, but that servant in turn goes out and severely punishes another who owes him a much smaller debt. And upon hearing this, and only upon hearing this, does the king punish his servant. In this parable, we get a sense of God's accounting system. We see that God, like the king, is actually not primarily concerned with what's owed to him or what's been taken away from him. Rather, he's keeping a much closer eye on the amount of mercy that's being given out. The interesting thing about this parable is that the king in the story isn't really worried about the servant's debt at all, but rather his inability to imitate his master, which is shown preeminently in the example of forgiveness. So in other words, the punishment incurred by the servant is not really based on his wrongdoing, but on his inability to put the wrongdoing of others in proper perspective. By turning his back on forgiving his fellow servant, he is turning his back on forgiveness completely, including his own. We ask God all the time to forgive our large and small faults. And God willingly does. But what about when we're called to forgive others who have done us harm? So today, let us remember not to be like the servant in the parable, and not to turn our backs on forgiveness.